welcome to our final night of chestnuts roasting on a dumpster fire, a very garbage theater Christmas. I'm your host Chase with my co-hosts Blake and John.
This bitch done killed a cat.
Spoiler alert.
Come on.
Sorry, it's been bothering me.
Has everyone donned their gay apparel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well,
so we're all set then.
We're good to go.
We're set. Yeah. Let's get this shit show on the road. This movie. It took me so long to finish this movie because I was pausing it every 5 seconds to write a paragraph of shit down.
Yeah, dude. The first 15 minutes alone, I feel like we could fill up the whole hour.
See, I had the opposite reaction. I was like, I need to get through this as quickly as possible to save my soul.
Well, I hope you didn't go too quick because you're 2 questions behind.
Yeah, well, you know what you're going to do. I figured John's due some good news.
Yeah, I could use some good news.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of questions, Blake, I think you wanted to do a little something special.
Yeah, I felt bad that Chase hadn't gotten to answer any questions. So I figured since it's the last day of the Christmas month, I would ask him some questions about a beloved Christmas classic, A Christmas Story,
There we go.
which I know all of us have seen more times than we could ever imagine.
Many times.
And I figured I'd throw my bullshit twist on questions into A Christmas Story, just to kind of see what Chase would say, because I think we all fancy ourselves Christmas Story experts, but let's see just how great Chase is.
All right.
So I got 5 questions.
Let's do it.
I'll do the easiest one first.
Okay.
Who sits directly in front of Ralphie in class?
Directly in front of Ralphie. Is it Schwartz?
It is Schwartz. Very good. That's 1. All right. According to the tree salesman, what type of tree do the needles fall off?
That's them balsams.
Whoa, you got that one too. What was Miss Shields disappointed in?
Oh. The margins.
Son of a bitch, you got 3. My goodness. Okay, there's no way you're getting these last 2. When grading the themes, what song was on the blackboard?
Oh, shit. Yankee Doodle.
Shut the fuck up.
Boom!
Chase knows the shit out of A Christmas Story.
He really does. And what was the name of the last child we see visit Santa?
The last shows that we see visit Santa.
Yes.
You might have me on this one because I know. God. I don't know.
It's Chris. They're walking away from Santa, the family, and Santa's in the background holding a kid.
I hear it now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bye, Chris.
Bye, Chris. Yeah, I hear it now.
Boom.
Shit.
Either way, you knocked that shit out of the park. That didn't go at all like I thought it was going to.
Yeah, it's safe to say I've watched Christmas Story many a times.
I even went over all those questions with my wife, and she was like, there ain't no way nobody knows all of that.
I had to think about the Yankee Doodle one because I do remember there being a song, and I was just going through which ones I thought it could be, and that's the one that was in my brain, so it must have been burned in there.
Color me impressed, because I was not expecting that.
I have also watched that movie a shit ton of times, and I didn't know any of that.
No, like if I wouldn't have been looking for questions and you would have asked me those, I would have known Schwartz sat in front of him, but I wouldn't have known any of the other stuff.
Yeah, and that one I just pieced together because I know when Miss Shields is asking where's Flick,
exactly.
It shows them and he's sitting in front of them. That's
right.
I pictured that scene in my head.
All right, well, enough with good movies.
Yeah, yeah. Let's get to Elves.
Elves.
Man, oh man.
How I don't. First of all, I don't know how this movie's been under my radar for so long. Like I've never heard of this before at all until I started looking up bad Christmas movies, and this was like top of the list on several places.
No, I've never heard of this.
Has it never been released on DVD?
I can't imagine it has.
Well, because I tried to look it up on Amazon, and I think the only result I got was like a used, busted up VHS copy.
I could tell you the version that we watched on YouTube definitely isn't DVD quality.
No, that was a VHS.
That was the same old busted up VHS copy.
Yeah,
that's that same one
with like the tracking problems and everything.
Yeah. Oh man, but I mean. The perfect movie to close us out for our holiday month.
Yeah,
I believe
this was something else. I think again, the first 15 minutes alone for me, I think it was probably the craziest shit we've ever seen on the show.
It was strange.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and dig right in to Elves.
All right.
So. We open to the creepiest Christmas possible. Frightening Santa statues, weird wax ballerinas, smashing ornaments. Really, setting the mood for what we're about to be in. Out in the woods, these three girls pick a spot close to Mother Earth. This is Kirsten, Brooke, and Amy. And they're starting their ceremony of the Sisters of Anti-Christmas. And they're upset because they didn't get anything good last year. So this is the maiden voyage of the Sisters of Anti-Christmas. This is their first get-together.
Which, there are many reasons to join the whole Wicca movement. And getting shitty presents is one of them. So, Kirsten wants them more to focus on helping her land David, the guy with the bent one. Yeah. My notes say, poor Dave.
So they say that, being women, the master race, they can control whoever they want. They just need to share a secret between them. And one of them goes, ew. And I don't know what she was ewing to.
None of this crap made any sense at all. I don't know what's going on here.
Well, one of the girls, I don't know if it's that part where she says ew or not, but somebody just mentions someone being a virgin, and she goes, virgin, ew. It's like,
oh, is that what that was? I didn't hear that.
Well, it might have, and it was like, well, I don't know if that's anything to be ewing about. Like, wouldn't it be more like slut ew? But I don't know.
Not these girls.
Nah, dude. Not these ladies are sex positive. See, like virgins are straight nasty.
Kirsten,
they all suffer from sexlexia.
Kirsten produces her sketchbook where she's whipped up a quick erotic sketch of this deity that they deem the Virgin of Anti-Christmas. And she makes sure to point out the Art Deco boobs she drew on them, which means she's just a topless. Yeah, she dreamed them. She dreamed these Art Deco boobs, which is just this topless woman, and she's got 4 black bars framing up her breasts. Now, pay attention, viewer, because this is going to come back in a magnificently stupid way later in the movie. So, they're reading from this book that belongs to Kirsten's grandfather, Roy.
Oh, that was his name?
Yeah, that's the only time they say his name. He's Gramps for the rest of the movie.
Right.
Even in the credits, he's Kirsten's grandfather.
One of them said Grandpa Roy. I remember that.
Okay.
I'm sure it happened.
Oh, I believe you.
But I couldn't for the life of me see the book they were reading from other than the nudie sketchbook. So I figured they were making all this shit up. The candle that they have flickers, so Kirsten reaches out to grab it and lacerates her hand on the candle.
I didn't get that.
How?
At this point, I've made a note that who lit this movie? Because there are no lights.
None.
It's the darkest fucking movie in the world. So
well, again, we are we are watching a literal VHS rip on low quality on YouTube.
Yeah. So
we gotta get that Blu-ray. We gotta get that 4K of Elves.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure they're rushing to get that 4K print out. So right as she cuts her hand, just like that, the first meeting of the Sisters of Anti-Christmas is over, and they scamper away into the night. Meeting adjourned. We accomplished nothing. So smoke starts to rise out of the pile of grass on the ground, assumedly where the blood spilled, and a gnarled claw reaches out.
We're like 2 minutes into this thing, and there's already something emerging from the earth.
So the girls all run home. We get the first of our elf vision as it stomps through the woods. Kirsten, sneaking into her house, is startled by a shadow that passes over the wall, and bam! Grandpa slap.
Yes.
Oh, you like that? How about a double grandpa slap?
And that's what I wrote down. Grandpa don't take shit from nobody.
Yeah. So the first slap was for being in Grandpa's study without his permission. And the second slap was for the lie that she was about to tell.
Yeah.
Grandpa don't take no shit.
Yeah.
So this is the first parallel between this film and the Nutcracker in 3D. I thought Grandpa was Einstein again.
I'll tell you, I bought Grandpa's accent more than I did Nathan Lane's.
Yeah, I give you that.
Well, Nathan's was way over the top, but Grandpa here's just kind of comes and goes. I feel like he completely loses it later in the movie.
Yeah, when he gets angry, the Nazi really comes out in him.
Yeah.
So after he slaps her around, he immediately regrets his actions and apologizes. And he tells her that he's warned her not to touch his books, and makes a guess that she's been spending time in the woods. And then we get some more elk vision, and it eats a frog. The first of the little tiny critters that distracts this elf throughout this movie.
I couldn't see what was happening.
Yeah, it catches
I don't understand. Like, at this point in time, when people are making all these scary movies that had creatures in them, why was everything 2 foot tall?
Because it's scarier.
But it's not.
When they're small and creepy and they can get into, they can hide in the cupboard in the bread box.
And this was, not only was it 2 foot tall and not scary, you could tell it was like the rejected puppet from Ghoulies 2.
Well, there's times where it seems like it's 2 feet tall. There's times where it seems like it's 6 inches tall. There's times where the head looks like it's a full-grown man-sized head.
I don't know, man.
The scale's all over. So after that encounter with Gramps, Mom comes in and approaches Kirsten and questions her about what happened. She tells her that she's been warned not to touch Grandpa's books and that she needs to be punished.
Oh, man, look out, dude.
Yeah.
Our mom.
Oof.
Mommy Dearest ain't got nothing on her mom.
No, not at all.
So Kirsten says that she's already had Grandpa slap her around, but Mom says, oh, well, that's not going to stay with you. You know what? Your savings account is history. Savings account. Then I'm going to take away your allowance, your credit. No. Your savings account is history. College? That's for girls who don't steal Grandpa's homemade jerk-off magazines.
And spend time in the woods.
So Kirsten declares that that's so totally outrageous. Semi-dating this movie.
Yeah.
She's not wrong, though.
Yeah.
That's
a bit much. I may or may not have been out in the woods. You can't prove this. And I was kind of in Grandpa's study for a second. College savings gone.
You'll have plenty of time to hang out in the woods with your friends when you're living in a van in the woods with your friends.
So later, Kirsten's taking a shower. And she gets peeped on in the shower by her weirdo little brother. And watch the mouth on this kid.
Holy God.
Look,
Sweet Jesus. This kid curses worse than 1,000 sailors.
Look, when I'm taken back from somebody's language, you know it's bad.
Yeah. He tells her that he's going to go to school and tell everybody that she's got some big ass titties. And that he saw them.
She's got fucking big titties, and I'm going to tell everyone that I saw
them. Wow.
He also said she called him a pervert. He's like, I'm not a pervert. I like looking at naked ladies. Like, no, dude, that's like the definition of pervert.
Compounded onto that it's your sister.
Yeah, it's like, man, it's the Weinstein residence up in here.
She gets even with him with a good old noogie, though, that devolves into a giggling tickle fight.
But so the whole time she's like, fuck you, and he's like, fuck you. It's so crazy.
Which I think was all part of his plan, because he's getting a noogie, but he also has her big fucking titties on the back of his head now, as he would put it.
And the whole while the elf's watching through the window, breathing uncomfortably hard.
Yeah, the elf is loving it.
Yeah. Okay, now Is this next part that I'm thinking of? Yes. Okay. Later on, after this, she's in bed and she's talking to her cat Agamemnon.
Yeah.
And while she's talking to the cat, she says that the cat, that she's her only friend that she has left. So screw Amy and Brooke, I guess.
Yeah, right.
She tells the cat that she doesn't mind if it turns out to be a girl. What?
I think she...
Is she not assuming a gender role on this cat?
No. I think what she got it thinking it was a boy and it turned out to be a girl.
Well, that makes more sense because I was in the same camp as Chase. Like,
it really sounded like she said, "I don't care if you turn out to be a girl."
No, because then she said, and I don't care that you got pregnant as long as you don't run away with the guy.
I'm pretty sure. Okay.
That makes more sense.
This movie not having baked in subtitles, and I had to use the auto-generated subtitles, which never work.
Yeah.
You couldn't rely on those. But to me, it sounded like she said, I don't care if you turn out to be a girl, and I don't care if you get pregnant.
Oh, man.
Like she's mothering this cat.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so it is a girl. So she goes from, not wanting to assume what gender, respecting this cat's privacy, and not jumping on what it is. But also doesn't mind if she gets pregnant. So it could be either or. Get pregnant if you want. Don't you oppress me. I'm not oppressing you, but you don't have a womb. Where's the fetus going to gestate? You're going to keep it in a box?
She's just watching her microaggressions. That's all.
And then she caps the whole thing off by saying what I heard was, I don't care if you get pregnant, just as long as you don't run off with the farmer.
Well, no, it was
the father.
The father? Okay, I thought you said farmer. I was this scene had
Come
me.
on, Chase. Context.
No, I heard farmer.
Well, the funniest part is that she starts this whole conversation off with complaining that her life has become a cliche. oh, that old cliche of like being a weird witch and living with your Nazi grandfather and having an evil mom that steals your savings account. That old chestnut.
Yeah, we've all been there before.
Oh, man.
Not questioning if the grandpa's name is really Roy. If you thought that she said run away with a farmer, that can't be that dude's name.
So, meanwhile in the basement, the elf finds a window, slow-mo window smash. He skulks around inside, finds his way into the house, sneaks into the little brother's room, and attacks. And by attack, I mean he sits on his chest and stares at him with his jaw agape.
Well, that's the only face he can make.
Yeah. So, while it's attacking the little brother, the cat gets up and walks the fuck out. He's like, fuck this. I'm still trying to come to terms with my sexuality. I don't need this nonsense.
Still trying to figure out whether I'm pregnant or not. And whether it was the farmer that done it.
So, Kirsten comes running in to help her little brother. And he says that something attacked him that was a little man, like a ninja, but also like a gremlin. He's just seeing his Ninja Turtle pajamas.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Mom comes in and just blames the cat. Just like the baby boomer generation, blame everything on the transgender community.
Right.
So, the boy sticks to his claim of a fucking weird ninja troll, and they take the cat and leave the kid alone.
Now,
yeah, they just leave right away.
Okay, this girl got like slapped for entering a room in the house, but this kid can say whatever the fuck he wants.
Oh yeah,
and nobody cares.
Which is strange because, as it turns out later, he's not really the favorite.
Right.
No. Maybe that's what, like, maybe they just don't care about him that much. They don't care.
Yeah.
It seems like they don't care. I mean, like, he's just been attacked, and they're like, shut up, and they leave. Turn off his lights. Poor little kid. He's like 8 years old. He has to try to go back to sleep after having a demon in his face.
So we cut from there to some weird synth Christmas music that this band is definitely not playing that we're seeing.
Yeah, this is like a Casio sample version of this song.
There's a band standing up in front of a building playing this quote-unquote music, and our man, Dan Haggerty, comes strolling up and tosses him a quarter. That's some good pantomiming, boys. Keep it up. He enters into the department store. So now it's the next day, I guess, because Kirsten is telling her friends, Book and Amy, about what happened that night, and she's in her snack bar employee uniform.
Yeah.
You know, the snack bar in the department stores. I guess this was before food courts and...
I don't know. I was confused because I didn't realize it was a department store. I thought it was like a mall. But then I was like, why is one person in charge of every store in the mall? Like, yeah. I didn't get it.
I don't know if this was Well, I mean, no, 89. There were malls at 89.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know. Kirsten's telling her friends about what happened. And there's, again, the dialogue. That is so false. Your mom is like a royal bitch. She just needs to get laid. Who doesn't? You know, girl talk.
Yeah.
So Kirsten says that it's break time. So let's go goof on Santa. More elf vision. So it's at the department store now in the middle of the day.
Elves
took
be
a cab
shopping.
there.
It's got some last minute buys to make.
So the department store manager is in the middle of berating a random employee when he spots Haggerty coming in. He tells him, you're always welcome here, so go get some coffee and donuts at the snack bar. Haggerty asks him for a job, but unfortunately they're all staffed up. The girls are in line now to see Santa, who's asking a little boy what he wants for Christmas. And the little boy exclaims that he wants a Nintendo. And Santa tells him, well, then you're in luck because the Nintendos are on sale in the basement. Oh, you have to leave now, kid.
Get out.
I thought that this was going to, come back. But it doesn't.
No. He says, oh, yeah, Nintendos. Yeah, you'll find those in the basement. Go on down there.
Let me say something else is in the basement, too.
Yeah, because later he's talking to another kid, and whatever she wants, he also refers her to the basement. So yeah, something's going down with this Santa.
Yeah, because that's my note says, why are all the toys in the basement?
This Santa isn't a good man, as we're going to find out here in a minute. Back home, Mom sneaks up on Agamemnon and bags him up. So again, this isn't a good mom.
Nope.
Back at Santa, again, sends another kid down to the basement, and Kirsten's up next. She hops up on Santa's lap and asks him well, first she says that she doesn't want Christmas to happen, and he's confused by that. But then she says, okay, well, can you make it snow? And then this happens. Santa leans into her, slides his hand up her skirt, whispers in her ear, oral. That happened in this movie.
Yes, it did.
So to that, she reacts, how any 80s teenage girl would. She just slaps his hat off, and that's it. Oh, you.
Yeah.
No, she asked, what? And he's like,
Santa said oral.
And just as a precautionary measure, when it comes to such things in these movies, I usually test them out in the real world. Don't do this to your wife. You do not get the desired result.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, but for science, I make sure and test these things.
Yeah, you'd think that was the absolute most romantic way to go about things, but you'd be surprised.
It's not.
Yeah.
They're strange. They're strange creatures. Those women.
I know. Baffling.
Yeah.
So we go from Santa whispering oral to some girl to Mom drowning the cat in the toilet.
Which I lost my mind with that scene.
She just quietly enters the bathroom with Agamemnon in the pillowcase and just stuffs him down the toilet.
Like, they didn't even care to do this off camera. Like, this happened.
She murders the cat in the toilet.
So now I'm thinking there is no one that they have introduced in this movie who has any goodness in their heart.
No.
Nobody.
Nope. Not a... Well,
hey, come on
Haggerty
now.
so far.
Yeah, old Grizz.
Yeah, but he's a fucking drunk.
Yeah, but he's a sweetheart.
I guess he wasn't an abusive drunk.
Yeah.
Like an angry drunk.
Yeah. He was a down-and-out detective drunk.
Well, other than him, everybody else in this movie is terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
So, after the cat drowning, we go back to Santa Weinstein's. And the department store manager orders him, you go take a break right now.
A break?
That's what you get for sexual assault. You go take your break. So he marches off. He flips off the poor girl that the manager was berating earlier. And all she did was say hello to him. More elf vision. The elf's just wandering around in the middle of the mall. Just out in the open. I picture that he stole some Oshkosh Bagosh from the Baby Gap and he's incognito.
Actually, whenever I realized that the elf was just walking around the mall, like I really just I just envisioned the elf doing the scene in Christmas Vacation with the lingerie saleswoman and Clark. Can I take something out for you? And the elf just sits there like he can't even talk. That'd be good stuff right there. See, that's how you make a movie.
Yeah, inject an elf into everything.
Yep. And a cigar or two somewhere. But.
Yeah. So, as it's following the Santa, it grabs a kitchen knife out of a display stand. Back at the manager threatens to fire Kirsten because Santa's only for customers and you're in uniform. I don't give a damn if you were just sexually assaulted. You're in a Chick-fil-A uniform and you need to respect them and give them the respect they deserve, damn it.
This guy is on a huge power trip. He's constantly threatening to fire people.
Yeah.
You need to remember, this is 1989, little lady.
Yeah. So, back at Mom's house, she takes poor Agamemnon's corpse out to the backyard and buries it in a freshly dug grave. Back to Santa, in the back room, doing lines of coke.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
No one has any redeeming qualities.
How did this Santa get past the vetting process? He can't even walk to the break room without...
The interview was, can you supply your own Santa suit? And he said, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
So,
can you provide your own Santa suit? Sure. Can you provide a flat surface for me to do this blow? Yeah, we got one in the
we can
back.
handle that.
We got those things all over the place.
So, he's doing his coke. The elf sneaks in. It creeps up behind him and proceeds to repeatedly stab him in the groin. And then Santa falls down dead.
Oh my god.
So
okay,
at least
this is like the 15-minute mark in the movie.
Yeah,
we've only gone through 15 minutes and we already have we've got the Sisters of Anti-Christmas. We got the slappy Grandpa Einstein. Mom drowning a cat in the toilet, foul-mouthed peeping brother, coke addict oral craving Santa getting his dick stabbed off by a monster. This movie is crazy.
Holy shit.
Well, nobody can claim that the pacing was slow in this movie.
No. Good Lord. So, outside, the line for Santa's starting to back up. The manager sends a worker to see what's taking Santa so long. She walks in, finds Santa's corpse, and screams. Later on, the police arrive, and the manager claims that nothing like this has happened here in 50 years. What, a Santa murder?
Any murder? I don't know.
Santas have been murdered, but not through the dick.
Yeah.
This is the first time the Santa's had his dick sliced off.
Right.
So the detectives begin to question Kirsten, the prime suspect.
Jesus Christ.
This poor girl. She blows it off, and they're kind of just like, okay, whatever. They let her go. Back home, Kirsten's looking for Agamemnon. She tells her mom that Santa was murdered, and she thinks that it's a bad joke, and that's that. We don't need to go into it anymore. Cut to Haggerty, walking up to his mobile home, and the elf's watching him now. This elf is all over the place.
Yeah. It's called Elves, but there's only one, right?
There's only ever one.
Right.
Yeah. Elf.
This elf gets around for being 2 feet tall.
They're going to eventually make a movie called Elf, so we can't use that. So he's walking up to his trailer, smoking his cigarettes, and he's reading the Surgeon General warning. He says, the Surgeon General says to recommends a pack a day to keep the lungs nice and dry. So, okay. He finds an eviction notice on his door and begins talking to himself like a crazy person, as he does through many of the scenes in this movie.
I feel like if he quit smoking, he could have afforded his rent.
Yeah.
He smokes like a case a day.
He's got to keep those lungs nice and dry.
I know he's supposed to be the character that we feel for and everything, but I'm sure there could have been some life changes he could have made to keep that trailer. Because how much could the rent be? Like, it was a shitty trailer by 1989 standards.
Yeah. And it's not like a trailer in a trailer park. It's like an RV. It's like a...
Right.
Yeah.
Who rents one of those? Who gets evicted from a mobile... from their car? It's like, what?
Oh, man.
Well, his main... source of income is walking into random buildings and saying, "Could I work?"
What I didn't get was, he was devastated that like you said, his RV has an eviction notice on the door. The RV's in the middle of nowhere. It's not in a trailer park. Break a fucking window and go in.
Yeah.
I mean, did he even try the door? Did he just...
He did try the door.
Yeah, he did.
I can't remember. I thought he just saw the sign and was like, well, there's that.
But there was a window right there.
Yeah. So, cut from Haggerty's eviction to Kirsten calling for her cat out the window. Elf still watching. The elf's watching her. The elf was just watching Haggerty at his trailer. And now it's watching her again.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Maybe there were more than one elf.
Maybe the trailer's in Kirsten's backyard.
Everything's 2 miles from everywhere.
Yeah. Maybe just, the elf did a little 180-degree pivot and saw her over there.
So, while the elf's watching her, it sniffs out Agamemnon's grave and starts to dig that up. Inside, Kirsten, her hand is completely healed just because she wrapped some gauze around it.
Yeah, one day later.
She cuts off the light and seemingly the film because it just goes black. She lays down and goes to sleep. She hears a scrabbling at the window, opens the curtain, and the elf attacks by jamming the corpse of her cat up into the window. But I couldn't tell that's what happened because it was all so freaking dark.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was just the elf face.
Yeah, I put it together later. Yeah,
but that's kind of a dick move.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd expect that from the ginger dead man, but not out of the elf.
Come on, elf.
You're scary enough, elf.
You're
not a cookie. So, yeah, later they're all up. Mom, Kirsten, and Gramps are all sitting in the kitchen. Mom's upset about, I guess I'm going to lose sleep tonight too, in this monotone serial killer kind of voice. Gramps rolls up and asks her where she saw this drawing that she made, because it's not in any of my books. Well, go ahead. Gramps has a record of every single thing on the planet to cross-check in his books.
Well, when it comes to boobs, I have everything in this here book.
He's got an extensive library.
What is this? I've never seen boobs like these with these black squares on them. So, Mom sends Kirsten to bed and says that she'll get an exterminator to come out to take care of the raccoon that she's sure was the troublemaker. But Gramps knows the truth. It was an elf.
Yeah.
And Mom says that she's had it up to here with Grandpa and his elves.
Grandpa just going on and on about the elves.
I'm so sick of the elves. You want to know who killed the cat? I killed the cat. Jesus Christ.
Now I'm going to go upstairs and flick my bean thinking about it. She's so evil.
Yeah.
I wish it was just John making a joke just now, but no, he's just telling you what's happening in the movie.
So, Grandpa wheels into his study and gets out this magic stone from the mantle and wraps it up while the elf's still skulking around outside. Cut to the next day, I guess, where Haggerty's sitting at the food court or the snack bar, whatever the hell it is, where Kirsten works. He asks her what's wrong because she doesn't have that spark that she usually has. And she tells him that her cat died, and he relates to that. Then the manager comes running up and asks Haggerty if he still wants a job. Hard cut to Haggerty dressed as Santa getting pissed on by a screaming toddler. So Haggerty's back in the dressing room, cleaning himself off, and talking to the chalk outline of the last Santa that's still on the ground in the break room.
A big old blood stain around the crotchal area.
Yeah. I did like that detail.
But you can't occupy that room yet. That shit is like 1 day old.
It's still a crime
A murder
scene.
was there yesterday.
It's a biohazard.
Yeah, the blood is still there.
It's ridiculous.
Oh my God. So, and then he spots a strange symbol on the floor. But he says to himself, oh, that's none of my concern. I'm not a detective anymore.
Yeah, there's just folk around here murdering Santas, of which now I am one.
Yeah.
None of my concern.
Yeah. Back with Gramps, where he's in a room filled with a bunch of other weird German guys all of a sudden, questioning him about the elves being resurrected. I feel like we missed a scene here.
Yeah. You can't just suddenly have a bunch of Germans talking about elves.
We would like to discuss page number 34 of your boob encyclopedia.
So they say that when there's no more room in hell, the elves will walk the earth.
I was immediately enraged.
As was I. Who the fuck do they think they are?
So
just like, oh, let's rip off Romero now. Why not?
Why not?
yeah. So the main German guy uncovers the elfin stone, as they call it, and Gramps pulls a Luger, and he reveals that Kirsten is of pure bloodline, and from her will spring the new order. The plot just keeps getting compoundedly more ridiculous.
Well, as soon as that came up, I was like, what the fuck is up with these Nazis in Christmas movies? Because it didn't hit me yet that they were Nazis until then.
Yeah.
This is the second thing in common with Nutcracker.
Yeah. Nazis for no reason.
For no reason.
Now, what if Elves would have had the budget and all the same actors as Nutcracker 3D?
Is John Turturro the elf?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And Nathan Lane as the
Is
Nazi
Gramps.
grandfather.
Oh God! So he pulls the Luger and runs the Germans out. So the main German guy and his 12-foot tall goon leaves. Back at the food court, Kirsten knocks over a tray of donuts to reveal a scary gentleman sitting at a table behind her. You have to assume this is another Nazi. Amy and Brooke show up to show off the new bra they bought. And they tell some limericks about the boys' dicks like they do. And they say that they're going to go meet up later.
These chicks are obsessed with these guys' dicks. they like got that dick madness.
Oh, man.
So Kirsten says we'll meet up later. Meanwhile, Haggerty, he's changed out of his Santa gear and he's heading out, and he tapes the lock on the door shut so he can get back in, and he leaves. The elf's watching Kirsten as she leaves out the back door, and she also goes to tape it shut, but finds someone else already has. Outside, Haggerty walks by some crazy person outside of a 24-hour library. It's the middle of, like, it's closing time. Yeah. So it's what, 10:30?
Yeah.
And the library's open.
You gotta figure Christmas hours at a store. It's pretty late.
Yeah. And the library being open at all on Christmas Eve. So, where was it? He walks in, asks the librarian about a book that he remembers from college about ancient runes and symbols. She says to look in the occult sciences section number 666.
Yeah.
Really, movie? Really?
It's the movie knew that was a bad joke. Haggerty even he says, like, is that a joke?
Yeah. So he sits down to flip through the book and finds the symbol, only to find that the corresponding page has been ripped out. He then realizes something about Fitzpatrick at this university. He just pops in his brain and hurries out. Amy and Brooke are waiting for Kirsten outside the back door of the department store, and she shows up with a bag of 40s? Is that what she says? She's got a bag of 40s? She's got a bag of 40s. And
I don't know that that's what she says.
I don't think so, but let's
because one of them said 40 ounces? It's a bag of 40s.
They got a party going.
Yeah. So they all go in. Haggerty returns to the department store to find the door is locked now because the girls took the tape off once they finally got in. So inside, the girls are talking about they're gonna meet up with the boys, and they're talking about divvying up what departments they're gonna be in to go and find outfits to meet the boys in. And Kirsten notices that one of the girls removed the tape from the door. So she said, how are the boys going to get in? So we got to go put the tape back. Meanwhile, Haggerty goes out to a dumpster to find a piece of rebar or something so he can pry the door open with.
I thought he was just gonna go sleep in the dumpster.
So he gets the rebar to pry the door open, goes back to the door to find that Kirsten's reapplied the tape and the door's open again. What was the point of all of that?
I have no clue.
Who knows?
There was no reason for all of that. So he goes in, he removes the tape. Now the boys are locked out. So Amy comes out to show off some superhero style lingerie she's put on, complete with a cape.
Yeah. Hey, that shit was good.
Was it? Because Brooke tells her that she looks like some kind of a slut dog. And then after that, a heated intellectual debate breaks out where the two girls say no way to each other till they're blue in the face. And then Amy concedes by saying, whatever.
What the hell's a slut dog?
I don't know. So Kirsten shows up and she's got some kind of dress that the other two are stunned to see. I don't know what's happening in this movie anymore.
No.
Haggerty goes to his makeshift cot and sits back and cracks into the book and he starts highlighting things. Then he hears something, so he goes out to investigate.
Is this
Elf
cot
still looking on?
Is this cot in the same room as the outline?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he's sleeping in there too. He's gonna go down for this murder. Like, they're gonna find all of his hairs in that room.
So the girls are at the makeup counter putting on their makeup when Amy announces that she has a new name for their group, the Masters Without Slaves. And then Brooke says what we're all thinking. Huh?
Yeah. What? Why? I don't understand what this means.
So Haggerty finds the girls, and he's like, oh, I don't have time for this shit. Returning, walks away. Elf's still watching. The girls are talking about ordering pizza, but that'll give them away, so they settle for just donuts from the snack bar. And then Haggerty approaches, and he asks them what they're doing here. And the girls are begging him, oh, don't arrest us. But then they realize that, he's Santa Claus. He can't arrest anybody. So they all come to the realization that none of them are supposed to be there. So they all agree to keep their mouths shut. And he returns to his makeshift room with the corpse stain. Back at the house, Gramps is wondering where Kirsten is. And Mom says that she's sleeping over at someone else's house. And in the next room, all the Nazis are still just chilling in there.
Just having coffee.
So, back to the department store. The boys have shown up. They're on their way. They're discussing which one of them gets to get which girl. And they find that the door's locked. So they say, oh, let's go back to the car. I got a tire iron in there, which is the proper tool for opening a locked door, right? Tire iron?
Doesn't one of them actually say that it's the right tool for the job?
He does.
When it is, in fact, not the right tool for the job?
So, inside, the girls are in the sporting goods department, picking out the tents that they're going to bang in. Amy asks Kirsten if she's actually going to do it with any of the boys, and she says no because she's saving herself. And Amy just doesn't understand how you stop a boy from sleeping with you. And she thinks that it's better to go through with it than to, have to do the confrontation.
Yeah, who wants to be a CT like Kirsten?
This shit was bumming me out. This is like... Ugh.
Yeah. How do you stop a boy from sleeping with you? I mean, it just happens, right?
How do you stop them? Like,
But
Kirsten's like,
really
just say no, and she's like, oh, why would I do that, or whatever.
She's kind of got a point though, because apparently a Santa can assault you, and he just gets on a paid break,
and you almost get fired, and then questioned by the police.
And this is why it's good that all these Harvey Weinsteins are going down.
Who produced this movie? Did Harvey Weinstein produce this movie?
He fucking wishes.
How amazing would that be?
Harvey Weinstein played the first Santa Claus. So they hear someone trying to pry open the doors, and they think it's the boys. But it's the Nazis.
Yeah.
So...
Surprise!
Surprise! Nazi time. They kick in the door, and one of the boys falls into the door with his head bashed in. The Nazis set off the alarms, and they set out to find Kirsten.
I did not get that. I didn't know who they killed. I thought they just killed some random janitor or something. I did not realize it was the boys. Okay.
Yeah.
It's all coming together.
Yeah.
Pretty sure all the boys are dead at this point.
Hey, good.
So, yeah. The girls are wandering around holding their ears to the alarm while Haggerty finds the dead boy. Brooke and Amy try to find somewhere to hide, so Amy takes off more clothes to help out with this and hides in the elevator by herself, leaving Brooke to swing in the wind.
I'm sorry, I just got to backtrack for a second because it just hit me. It's probably good that kid died. Because he was going to spend all night trying to get into Kirsten's drawers, and it was going to be all for nothing.
Well, you don't know. He could have been paired up with Amy, and it would have been the easiest thing in the world.
It would have been all in like Szechuan.
Oh God, such a bummer.
So Amy hides in the elevator by herself. The Nazis find her immediately. But Haggerty's close behind, and then the elevator doors close and it descends. Inside, the Nazis are interrogating a hysterical Amy and proceed to blow her fucking head off.
Well,
Because they're like, this isn't the one we want. Let's just shoot her. Haggerty heads down the stairs. Kirsten spots the elf, and it's just kind of like popped up and like behind the counter. It's
Can we
just
talk
a little
about
head on a stick?
Yeah, can we talk about the elf really quick? Like,
Yeah.
what he's made of. It's just a fucking Halloween mask. It's like expression can't change.
Nope.
And
Its mouth's always wide open.
always just the same expression. They like spray it with water so it looks kind of gooey or something.
Yeah, it's
They show
wet looking.
they show its hands a lot, and you'd think
They
it'd
never
be,
show that it's in its entirety. It's
No.
always just the head and shoulders, the hands, or the feet.
Yeah. Sometimes they combine like the hands and the feet or whatever, but yeah, it's always just those pieces. But like the hands, you'd think it'd be easy to make some gloves or something, but these are like puppet hands. They don't move. Their range of motion is really, really small.
Yeah, it's just rough. Like there's no like armature inside of it. So whenever it's touching things, it's just like flopping around and flapping.
And then the legs are like two straight legs that they just sort of like step into the ground. Like
They just kind of like piston, like.
Yeah, oh man, it's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for these people.
So Haggerty heads downstairs. Kristen spots the elf, and she hides behind a counter. Haggerty runs into the room as the Nazis run out of the elevator and start blasting away at him. He ducks behind the same counter as Kristen and grabs a gun from the display case, and a shootout breaks out. Haggerty tells Kristen to make for the stairs, but the elf's in the way. So she grabs a gun, and then the elf starts to approach. Brooke calls the elevator, and when it opens, she finds Amy dead. She runs away into the haunted mannequin room of the mall, where the elf has ET'd himself amongst the mannequins.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
She sees it, it kind of like wobbles around, and she runs off screaming. Flees down the stairs, it follows her. She slams the door closed behind her, and the elf blasts the door open like it's a full-grown man.
Elves got strength, man.
Yeah, super strength.
Yeah. She runs down some more stairs to the shootout room and crawls under a table, knocking toys to the ground, and wind-up pigs and puppies back the elf into a corner for some reason.
It doesn't understand them, Chase.
So, as Brooke hides...
Or he's like, hey, I made you guys back in the North Pole.
It's like, hey,
there's no
move
reference
around without having some guy's hand up your ass.
There's never a reference to the elves having anything to do with Christmas or Santa or anything.
No.
Ever in the whole movie.
It's very weird.
It's,
and it does, I mean, this one I think is...
It's a demon.
Yeah. This one is barely a Christmas movie. I think, right? I mean...
It takes place during Christmas, but that's about it.
Yeah, it's a Christmas movie for the same reason that Die Hard's a Christmas movie, because it takes place during Christmas.
Yeah.
Leaving all of like the elf lore like out the window.
Yeah. And our hero of the movie has been a Santa for one day.
Right.
Not even because he wants to be. He just kind of, he's got to get back into his trailer somehow.
Yeah. So, as Brooke hides, a teddy bear falls down on top of her, and she looks up and sees the elf. And now he's wearing a Santa Claus hat for reasons. And he's still got his dick stabbing knife. And he slashes at her arm and her leg, which cripple her, apparently. And like plods up to her and caresses her face weirdly and then stabs her to death.
I don't understand this. Like, why he kills her. I mean,
she's in the way.
She's not, though, really. I mean, I feel like he has a purpose. You know, we find out later.
Yeah, he's up to, but later, like, he's technically protecting Kirsten.
Yeah, but so why is he killing her friends? I mean, they're shitty friends, but because hardly seems worth murdering.
Because they're not the pure blood thing that Kirsten is.
All right. Yeah.
Because they're not saving themselves like Kirsten is. That's important.
Yeah.
That's important to the plot of this movie, believe it or not. So, the German guy sees Kirsten is with Haggerty, and he tells his goons to stop firing. We hear police sirens approaching, and the Nazis flee into the night. Haggerty and Kirsten find Brooke dead, and then Haggerty sees the same symbol written in blood next to her that he saw by the chalk outline of his sleeping buddy. Later on, the police arrive, and they order that the entire place be dusted for prints. Which that's going to take a while.
Well, not only is it going to take a while, but it's a fucking store that's open during Christmas. You know how many people's prints are going to come up in that?
Well, you just find the ones that are out of place. Don't you know that all stores wipe the employees wipe the whole store down from roof to floor of all prints?
Oh yeah, I bet.
So that it's a pristine store the next morning.
Then they ain't gonna do nothing.
They just set off a bleach
there's a
bomb.
Nazi shootout.
Dustin for prints would do absolutely nothing in a place like that.
So the detective knows Haggerty and tells him that he used to be the best detective on the force, but he drank it all away. Haggerty tells him that he saw an elf, and the detective says, damn it, I just need the facts. Don't give me that Joe Friday shit.
Yeah, everybody remembers that Dragnet episode when they talked about elves murdering Santa Claus.
So, Manager Man's back, and he blames all this on Kirsten. You know, the theme of this movie. Kirsten tells him off, and then he almost slaps her, this poor girl. But Haggerty comes in and stops him. And then the manager fires Haggerty and her, and out they go. Haggerty says that he wants to take her home, and she insists on calling him Santa, which I'm sure he appreciates. The elf then returns to Brooke's body, and everyone's gone. So, okay, a Santa got murdered in the back room. They left the blood and the chalk outline and the evidence and everything there. Another person gets murdered, and they leave the body this time.
Yeah, I'm just imagining the hearse driver or whatever. He's like, shit. Left the goddamn body there.
Yeah, because they covered her with a sheet and then just left. Like, that's good. So the elf goes back, pulls the sheet off of her, and it starts to eat her. Like, it puts her fingers in its mouth, and he's like chewing on her.
Yeah, like bites off.
It spots
her fingers off.
Yeah. It spots a rat and says, "Ooh, rat, I'd rather have that," and runs off. Another little critter distracts the rat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a rat would be meatier than this chick's fingers, so I sort of get that.
Plus, it isn't already dead.
So, back home, Haggerty and Kirsten are explaining this to Mom, and Mom thinks everybody's on drugs.
Why would they even bother talking to this lady?
She's been so rational up to now. So, Gramps asked Haggerty to describe the elf, and as he's talking to him, Haggerty spots the same symbol carved on the floor under the Christmas tree. And Gramps sends Haggerty away. Then again, Haggerty goes, "Oh yeah, Fitzpatrick, that random name I pulled out of my ass. Let's chase down this lead."
Well, that was the name of the
Gramps-
guy that wrote that book that he was looking at, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's trying to hunt him down. Gramps says that he wants to get Kirsten out of there, and he explains that he created her destiny, and he needs to teach her how to undo what he's done. Later, Haggerty arrives at the university and knocks down some girl, and she tells him where Fitzpatrick is, and he helps her up, and he goes on his way. Finds this Fitzpatrick character. He's a typical professor, smoking a pipe, wearing a vest. So he asks Fitzpatrick about the symbol, and he tells him about... He goes into Noah and the Ark and that story.
I was not expecting this.
No.
And he says that there's a line in the Bible where God commands Noah to save the little creeping things, which, you know, that means elves, right? Right? Yeah. Yeah,
got to.
elves. So Fitz continues on, and he's talking about how, you know, who else were big elf buffs? The Nazis. So he then instructs Haggerty to look up Dr. O'Connor, because he's far more up to date on Nazis than he is. And I forgot to mention, Haggerty arrives at the university, and it's the middle of the day.
Yeah.
He has this one conversation with Fitzpatrick, leaves, dead-ass night.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
So, gets in his car, drives off, and it's followed by the same mysterious figure that we saw watching Kirsten in the snack bar. Kirsten, back at the house. Kirsten's upstairs. Mom comes in to tell her that the police told her what happened and that Kirsten's friends really are dead. So, I guess you were right, you bitch.
You can have a quarter of your savings back, you lying fucking bitch.
But then Mom immediately gets on her case about being impulsive and selfish like her father, and basically blames the deaths of her friends on her.
Well, it was kind of her fault.
If only there was a cure for Dick Madness, they never would have been there in the first place.
But as we know, there is no cure.
So then, here we go. Here's where the movie pulls a fucking Chinatown.
Yeah.
And it's revealed that Mom gave birth to Kristen because of Gramps.
Yeah.
Gramps is her father and her grandfather.
God
So
damn.
there you go.
I can honestly say I did not see that coming.
Yeah. Yes, neither did I. Yeah, so that gets broken to her, that she's a child of incest.
Which then you realize that the brother doing all that stuff in the beginning, that was just foreshadowing.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of this incest shit going on in this family.
So who's the little kid? Is he also an incest baby?
No, I don't think.
Because they talk. She's talking about, you know, how she wishes Dad was here, like there was a dad at some point, but
she said she never met him.
She never met him.
So that must be some other relative's baby.
Oh, this movie. So we cut from that revelation to Haggerty interrupting Dr. O'Connor's Christmas Eve dinner, like you do. This scene. Dr. O'Connor, he's about to carve the turkey with his electric carving knife, and his daughter says, "Daddy, is this roast beast?"
Yeah.
He says, "No, it's roast turkey, dear." And then Haggerty comes stomping up the stairs, demanding that he tells him about elves and Nazis. All in front of his family.
Yeah, instead of saying, "Sure, let me shoo my children out the room before we start talking about demon sperm and whatnot." But nah, y'all stick around and hear this. Y'all need to know these things.
Because Haggerty insists on him just taking a few minutes out of his Christmas Eve night to explain this. And he says, well, there's two schools of thought on elves. Elf assassins and elf sperm.
And his children just stare up at him intently. Almost as if they've heard the story before and they can't wait to hear it again.
They're like, oh shit, Dad's back on that elf sperm shit again.
Dad suffers from the dick madness.
Yes. So it was either the Nazis were spawning elves to use as assassins because elves are the perfect assassins, apparently, or that the elves were made to mate with a virgin on Christmas Eve to spawn the perfect race.
Yeah.
That's the 2 and 2 equals 4 situation if I've ever heard one.
The combination of magic and science.
So Haggerty heads out from there, having all the answers, still being followed by the suspicious man. Back home, Kirsten has confronted Gramps with her newfound knowledge, and he's explaining all of this to her. Meanwhile, Mom's upstairs getting a bath ready, and she turns on a radio next to the bathtub, and I was thinking, you better make sure there's no strings attached to that thing. Back downstairs, Gramps is telling Kirsten that it wasn't traumatic for your mother at all. I wouldn't hurt my own daughter. Ugh.
Oh, God, this was bumming. Did he say she was drunk?
Worse. He says it wasn't traumatic for her. She was drugged. Fuck.
Oh, she was also underage, right? We found early on, she said that
yes.
She had Kirsten when she was 16.
Yes. Put all that together.
Who allows that to slip on into a movie?
Thank you for ruining one of my questions.
Oh, sorry.
Good job, John.
So, back upstairs, Mom's putting on her makeup before getting in a bath, like you do. Back downstairs, Kirsten's getting the hell out of there, and for good reason. Back upstairs, Mom's really starting to put that lipstick on. She's just mashing it into her face now.
Mom's wound up a little tight.
Yeah.
The madness is kicking in.
So Kirsten gets startled by her little brother, who he's upset that he doesn't think there's much under the tree this year. Outside, the elf's still lingering. Haggerty's racing to the rescue when he reaches under his dashboard and finds a cartoon Wile E. Coyote bomb.
Which, best part of the whole movie.
Why does this thing fall out? I don't know. I don't understand what happened here. He was like lighting a cigarette and then just a bomb falls out.
I watched it a couple times because I couldn't figure it out. And the best I can figure is he's trying to light a cigarette, but it won't work.
So he's like banging on the dash.
And whenever he tries to like bang on the dash to get it to work, the glove compartment opens up and the toy bomb falls out.
Silly bomb.
It's a bunch of sticks of dynamite wrapped together in a cylinder with an alarm clock on it, right out of fucking Looney Tunes. So he sees the bomb, dives out of his car. It explodes in the distance.
Instead of throwing the bomb out,
he's got it in his hand.
He throws himself out.
So the guy following him pulls up, gets out of his car to look around, and Haggerty attacks him, knocks him down, punching him. And he's asking him, what are you, a Nazi or something? Is that your elf? How many teeth do you have? Basic questions.
He was asking him way too many questions. It's like, give him a second.
I kind of like the teeth thing. Like, how many teeth do you have? And then he punches him. And he says, what about now?
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, that was all right. That was all right.
he shouldn't have done that because he broke that Captain America Nazi cyanide tooth.
Yeah.
And the Nazi starts foaming up and dies. So then Haggerty notices something on the Nazi's lapel, and it's a little pin that's that same symbol.
Oh, that damn symbol.
Back at home, Mom gets in the tub. The elf is clawing around at the Christmas tree. Kirsten and her brother hear an ornament break, and Gramps is still looking for Kirsten, but he's foiled by the stairs because everybody's upstairs.
Did we mention he's in a wheelchair? I don't think we did.
No,
yeah, he's in a wheelchair. Yeah, he's in a wheelchair. So, the elf claws its way into the bathroom, and what do you know? Knocks the radio into the bathtub and electrocutes Mom to death.
Ooh, I was like, God damn. Kirsten's mom kept it tight.
For us to was it necessary for us to see her Art Deco boobs?
It was. They were spending time on those. Like, the shots were like. They, like, cut off her head in the shot. It was like all this below the neck. Watching her, like, writhe around getting electrocuted. It was highly erotic.
Needless to say, this scene woke John right back up.
It was highly erotic, the man says.
This woman being electrocuted in a bathtub.
Yo, everybody's got their thing. No, obviously I'm kidding.
Of course. It's a comedy show, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. So Haggerty arrives, kicks in the door, and comes running in. Kirsten and Willie is the brother's name. Meet up with him, and they start to go down the hallway to investigate the bathroom. They go in, find Mom dead in the tub, and Haggerty says, "Oh, she'll be fine. Let's go."
She's gonna be okay.
She's gonna be okay. She'll be fine. Let's go. Let's go. Is Mom okay? No, yeah, she'll be good. Let's go. Let's get the hell out of here. Rushes him down the stairs.
Hey, son, you don't want to take a good look at those tits before we go?
Check that out. Hmm?
You thought your sisters were nice.
You wonder where she got them?
And the grandpa's at the bottom of the stairs saying, "Let me see."
So he rushes them down the stairs. Gramps stops them and says that he needs to show Kirsten how to kill the elf. And Haggerty says, "You know what? We've been seeing some shit tonight. Let's hear the old bastard out." So he then tells Haggerty. Haggerty asked him if the elf symbol is like the new symbol for this resurrected Nazi party. And he says, "No, that was our original symbol."
Whoa.
Okay. So and then while Haggerty and Gramps are talking, we cut to Willie and Kirsten, and Willie goes, "Are we gonna be all right?" And Kirsten goes, "No, Billy. Gramps is a Nazi."
It's an honest answer.
Yeah.
This movie is insane.
No, Gramps is a Nazi, and he's also my dad. We got to catch you up on a lot of shit.
we got a lot to talk about because I think I got a revelation for you too, Willie.
I think we've solved a lot of your problems there, Chief.
Gramps then reveals that the offspring of the Kirsten elf coupling is going to be the Antichrist. Why not?
Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, how? How does this make any sense?
He proves this to them by taking Kirsten's erotic nudie drawing and doing a little connect the dot action and drawing swastikas on the tits of this woman. I told you it was coming back.
She dreamt of those Nazi titties.
Why?
There's no reasonable explanation for any of this.
So Gramps takes the elf stone, and then the Nazis come back in, and they're making a home video of this whole situation. Like, oh yes, here we are. Here we have Grandpa, and we have Kirsten, and we have little Willy.
It's like Christmas morning.
Then Haggerty jumps in and starts wrestling with the Nazis. While all that scuffle's going on, Gramps pulls in Kirsten and whispers to her supposedly directions to kill the elf.
I thought whenever he started whispering to her, he was going to go oral.
Granddaddy said
Grandpa.
oral.
Then Gramps pulls out his Luger and shoots one of the Nazi goons twice in the stomach, and he is unfazed by this. Walks up, grabs the gun out of Gramps' hand, knocks him out of his wheelchair, and proceeds to die. The boss Nazi then walks up and kills Gramps. Then Haggerty grabs onto him, fighting him. Kirsten and Billy run outside. The goon Nazi comes back to life long enough to shoot Haggerty off of the boss Nazi.
But with no sound, though, because I wasn't sure. I don't think the gun made no sound, so I wasn't even sure what happened.
Yeah. We have to assume he was shot because of how it plays out later. But, I mean, the boss Nazi goes off after Kirsten in the Nazi mobile. Kirsten and Billy are running around in the woods, and Billy's he's like, oh, we're going to get lost doing this. And then Kirsten says, well, good, then no one will be able to find us. That's some short-sighted thinking to this plan.
Very, very.
Then after that, they're running around the woods, and the boss Nazi's driving down the street trying to find them, and flips the Nazi mobile. Just
crashes himself for for no reason.
But it was a good thing, because he would have drove right past them, because he crashes right next to where they are.
Yeah.
Crashes, he gets out of his car, runs into the tree line, and immediately finds them. But Kirsten and Billy stumble upon the spot where the elf was summoned. It's just a hole in the ground. Kirsten notices that her hand wound has reopened, and the boss Nazi shows up. And he's telling Kirsten, oh, calm down. Calm down. I don't want to hurt you. I would never hurt you. And then the elf pops out from behind a tree. He's got a gun. He just shoots the boss Nazi and kills him. So Kirsten tells Billy to run, go back to the house, get the stone from Gramps' study. As the elf slowly approaching Kirsten. And he starts pawing at her. And this whole time I'm like, don't show its dick. Don't show its dick. Don't show its dick. So, but while that's happening, it spots a roach running around and says, ooh, I'd rather have that. This elf likes to munch on little critters.
He doesn't want to get busy on an empty stomach.
Yeah, well, there's that.
So Willie makes it back to the house. He finds the stone is gone. But then Haggerty shows up, and he gives the stone to Billy and tells him, go save your sister. And he slumps down injured on the floor, so he must be wounded from the shot. Back in the woods, the elf's starting to slide Kirsten's skirt up, and I'm going, come on, Billy, you can't get there fast enough.
Move those little legs, you little fucker.
Billy finally finds her, and he just kind of walks up and hands her the stone, and the elf's just kind of like, okay, I'll let this happen.
Hey, what's going on, Willie? What you got there? Oh, the only thing that can cause my demise? That's cool.
Yeah. So she takes the stone, and she starts crawling over to the hole, and the elf's just kind of walking next to her like, okay, where are we going? And
tell me again about the rabbits, Kirsten.
So she gets to the hole, she raises up the sharp stone, and lets out, "Die, you little faggot."
Yeah.
What?
Wow.
I didn't hear that.
And then, yeah.
She was so tolerant of her cat's gender, you know, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
sexual orientation, but fuck that elf.
Jeez.
She then proceeds to
Well, she is
stab
from
the
Nazi
hole in
stock.
the ground. Yeah. She then proceeds to stab the hole in the ground,
Yeah.
and it explodes. And then the elf cries out in pain, and it turns into smoke. And then the whole movie turns into smoke, actually.
Yeah.
Because it's a good solid minute and a half of just swirly gray. Kirsten then wakes up with Willie the next day in the woods. And Billy asks, "Well, what's happening?" And she says, "Shh, it's snowing. Elf fetus."
Jeez.
It closed the deal.
Is that what happened? Because I was confused.
Yeah.
How did it close the deal?
While Billy was fucking off with the stone, it closed the deal. Somewhere in hell, that elf's going, "I did it. My boys can swim." Holy.
Well,
and then
yeah,
credits.
they spend
and
all
that's
this
it.
time. They spend all this time with the elf, like romancing her and stuff.
Oh.
That was
Yeah.
yeah.
He did it.
He pulled it off.
She reverted to Amy for a second. It's better just to avoid the confrontation.
Yeah.
Wow.
You don't know. He could get mad. You know, he'll go tell all the other elves that you gave him blue balls.
Oh man. Well, that's it. That's our last movie for our holiday month special, and it was a doozy.
It was.
Oh boy.
But now we got some work to do because we have to find out who's taking this whole shebang home.
Oh my goodness. Whew,
So
nervous.
It currently stands 7-5 in John's favor. So it's very much anybody's game. I have, let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 8 questions remaining. So good. I didn't run out of questions. I just have to figure out which ones I'm gonna use. So, without any further delay, should we start, gentlemen?
I'm ready.
Yep.
Okay. Question number 1. What brand of cigarettes does Haggerty smoke?
Fuck.
Question number 2. What was the name of the Santa that said oral? Question number 3. In the department store, what brand of vacuum is on display next to the elevator?
Ooh. I don't think I caught that.
These are tough questions, yo.
Question number 4. During the sporting goods shootout, what is the sign on top of the display case say where Haggerty and Kirsten are hiding?
Yes.
And question number 5. Let's see. What is Dr. O'Connor's housekeeper's name?
I know I got 4.
Oh, shit.
Man, I don't know. You could turn this around because I'm only confident in 2.
Okay, Are we ready?
Yep.
Let's go through them. What brand of cigarette does Don Haggerty smoke?
Camel.
Marlboros.
Camel.
Damn.
Like closing the gap. What was the name of the Santa that said oral?
Eddie.
Gary? Just guessed.
It was Eddie.
Oh my god.
Tied up 7-7.
His name was not in the credits. His name in the credits was like Dead Santa.
No, when he was talking to the outline, he called him Eddie.
Exactly. Question number 3. What brand of vacuum is on display next to the elevator?
I guessed and said Hoover.
It's Hoover. That's one of the ones I knew.
It's Hoover. Still tied 8-8. Question number 4. What's the sign say on the display case that they're hiding behind during the shootout?
Gift ideas for mom.
Gift ideas for mom. Holy shit. 9-9. Is it going to come down to this last question?
Do you know this one, John?
I'm not confident.
Uh-oh. The final question. What was Dr. O'Connor's housekeeper's name?
Rosa.
Oh, I put Rosa.
Son of a bitch.
I put Rosa.
What? Holy shit. 10-10. It's a tie. Okay, we got to do a tiebreaker question now.
Oh, man.
Holy shit.
So we got to wait till the question's over and then we answer, right?
You have to wait till the question is completely over and then you answer.
All right.
Okay. Let me. I gotta pick which one because I got 3 I can pick from.
Ooh, man.
This is intense.
I got it. The tiebreaker question that settles it all. Brooke's body is found between 2 giant what?
Tents?
Incorrect answer.
So that's it.
Fuck.
Teddy bears.
Teddy bears.
That's it. Blake is triumphant.
Oh my god. I came back.
With a goddamn tiebreaker question.
Ooh, that was a good one, John.
I should have. I wasn't confident in tents. I should have kept my mouth shut.
What was the other questions, just for shits and giggles?
My other question was, according to Fitzpatrick, what is the symbol that they keep finding everywhere?
Oh, I don't know.
Symbol of the elf or something, right?
It's a tribute to the elves. And my only other question was, how many times does Haggerty punch the driver Nazi before he dies?
I would have guessed and said 5.
It was 6.
Okay.
Whew.
I was really, I had so many other things in mind that I thought you would pick for questions. Like the list of reasons that Elves would make a great assassin. They're small, easily hidden, silent, eat anything, vicious, magic powers.
Oh, yeah. Those 2 staple trademarks of assassins. Eat anything and magic powers.
I had memorized the information in the HUD of the video camera.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even look at that stuff.
Yes.
It was 12/24 was the date. The battery and light both just said okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just, the battery goes okay, and then it goes to oh no.
Yeah.
I had Haggerty's dog's name.
Yeah.
Pea Shooter.
I didn't have that.
I had so many other. Damn it, Chase! Damn you!
It was as close as it could have been.
It really was.
I was not expecting a tiebreaker.
So not only do I get first pick, but now I have the Excalibur as well.
Yes, you do. So that means during season 3, at any time he wants, probably during one of my movie picks, he can force He can force us to watch any Steven Seagal movie he wants, regardless of rules. Any movie with Steven Seagal in it.
Yep. Well then.
Well,
and it's probably going to be that one where he slides across the floor.
It might be. Oh, man.
So, well, now that that's settled and our holiday month has concluded, we got to gear up for season 3 of Garbage Theater, which means Blake needs to tell us what the first goddamn movie is.
All right. So I don't have to talk about this one too much, and you'll understand why. I'll just go ahead and say it's got a 3.1 on IMDb. I wrote down what it had on the other things, but I lost it. I think it had 20% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's from 1991 with a runtime of 96 minutes. I'll read the synopsis. It's a very short synopsis. A medieval warrior chases a bad guy to modern-day Los Angeles to avenge the death of his wife. Sound familiar?
Are we watching Time Barbarians?
We're going to watch Time Barbarians with Malibu.
Holy shit.
Oh, man.
Hells yeah.
So I figured it might. I figured everybody would like it, but I figured it might peeve you a little bit that you don't get to be the moderator for the quiz for that one.
Nope. I just want to watch it.
Me too. Like I couldn't. Like ever since you brought that one up, I was like, we have to watch that movie. So that's how we're starting out the season with the movie that should have been. We'll call it.
What did we watch instead of that? Was it Carnage?
Yeah, I think it was Carnage.
Yeah. Well, Carnage was good too. I know you hated it, Blake.
Yeah. I think we'd all rather watch Time Barbarians.
Well, that remains to be seen.
Doran the Barbarian.
Well, there you go. So we're going to start off season 3 right with a movie starring an American Gladiator.
That's right.
It's on Amazon, I believe.
Yep.
Amazon Prime. You can watch Time Barbarians. I'm excited now.
Yeah, me too.
I hope it makes more sense than that trailer.
I think that trailer showed the whole damn movie.
Basically did, yeah.
But that's going to be great. Well, that's that.
Yep.
I hope all you folks have enjoyed celebrating the holiday season with us with these fine films that we watched. If you want, you can like us on Facebook at Garbage Theater. What the fuck am I saying? At Facebook.com/Garbage Theater. Or you can follow us on Twitter at @garbage_theater or on Instagram at @garbage_theater. If there's a movie you'd like to suggest to us, we're open to suggestion. You can contact us on any of those social media channels, or you can email us at garbagetheaterpodcast@gmail.com. Check us out on iTunes. Leave a review if you'd like. We'd appreciate that. On behalf of everyone here, I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, a Happy Kwanzaa, Festivus, whatever you may be doing this holiday season.
Yeah.
Whatever you got, have a good time. Watch some good movies, because we got you covered with the bad shit.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of good stuff in the theaters right now.
Yeah,
Get out and
go see that stuff.
Go watch The Shape of Water. Give Guillermo del Toro your money.
Yeah.
Oh man. So, on that note, any last holiday messages?
I just want to call this the greatest comeback story of all time.
I'm so disappointed.
Won the season and the special month.
Oh,
I went from season 1 being an absolute loser to winning everything I possibly could in season 2.
It's pretty good.
You did it, man.
I'm happy. I redeemed myself. Now it's John's turn, and I'm gonna do everything I can to keep Chase down in season 3.
Yeah. You like how I assumed you were going to use your weapon on me?
Oh, that's happening.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be strategic at all. Just as soon as I find out that there's a movie that you really, really want to watch, it's gone.
Well, that's just it. Every single one of my picks has to be absolute shitstorms to try to get you to use that thing. Oh, God. All right. Well, on that note, happy holidays, folks. We'll see you next time.